Hey everyone, so today we're going to dive back into the little nostalgia wagon. This little guy from the 90s, still a current production frame. This is the Vuarnet Legend 03, as worn in The Big Lebowski by Jeffrey Bridges, playing the dude, and I am getting tired of this mask. So let's get this flipped around, door shut, all that fun stuff, and we will talk about what makes this frame so cool and why I am a big fan of it, along with all the other frames here. You guys know the drill. I love all the sunglasses, but let's talk about this one. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the Legend 03 from Vuarnet. This is their matte black, sporting the blue Polar Lynx lenses, possibly one of their most advanced lenses, as it does use that bi-shaded mirror they're known for in the Ski Lynx lenses, and you can see how that fades just doing that right there. So of course at the top, much more mirroring effect, none right there in the middle, and of course it ramps back in as you get to the bottom edge of the lens. It makes for a really nice, cool look, especially you can see here when it's laying on the table. You get that nice little center strip of the blue with that stronger silver mirror above and below. Now, of course, that lens, we've talked about it before. I'll link it in a card up here in just a moment if you want to learn more about the specifics of the blue Polar versus the blue Polar Lynx lens. But onto the frame, this is one of their nylon injection frames, so it's going to have a very similar style to what the originals did, but they've improved pretty dramatically how these nylon frames are actually produced. And there's not any sort of mold lines on these, which I don't know if you guys watching are familiar with the nylon or plastic injection molding process, but you tend to get a very notable molding line, occasionally some more flashing depending on the production standards. You don't really have that on these. Now, you do get a little bit on the very front of the frame on this one, but on the temples it is non-existent. They used to have the injection molding point right here on either temple, and of course that's absent now too. So a lot of small improvements. They've changed their font on the inside. Yeah, there we go. You can see the Made in France. They've changed the font and the sizing of it a little bit. Overall, makes it just a little bit cleaner and nicer looking. Of course, nobody's going to be looking inside the temple when you're wearing it, right? You've got the classic Vuarnet logo on the temple instead of where I've mentioned in some of the other frames, they've moved to that new little checked-in inset V for their logo instead of the Vuarnet down the temple. Again, I think that's a nice, luxurious improvement, but for the Legend series, I totally understand why they've not made that update and why they continue with that Vuarnet logo right there on this one. Now, of course, as we come back around to the front, you can see we've got that classic 90s styling, very, very big shape, and the good thing about this, even though it is a big shape, it has a medium-sized bridge, so it fits a lot of different people really well. Now you'll notice the way I've got this one set up for the video is with that center insert out, but of course if you do want to show off the Vuarnet logo a little bit more, there you go. This guy just seats right down in here. Very easy to put in, not quite as easy to take out because it does stick in there pretty tightly. So that kind of closes in the front. Now, what that is kind of funny actually. So you can do the style with the piece out, or you can put it in. It blocks snow and ice from getting in there into the middle. Now, this frame isn't really intended for that purpose, but I guess it's just a Vuarnet thing, right? But of course we do have our little skier logo on the lenses right at the top, because that is how they do things. Now, what's really cool with these, as I mentioned, they've really ramped up the quality on these nylon frames, and something you don't normally see on these, they've actually taken the time to make sure that this doesn't have a really strong seam and feel to it on both temples. Now, I don't know what that process entails for a nylon frame. I know on an acetate frame, that is a lot more time consuming than you would imagine, because you have to polish and hand sand and file down once the temples are already installed on the frame, and that's not normally a step you're going to do, but it makes a much more cohesive fit and feel all around. Now, moving back around to this side of the frame, where we always say all the magic happens, you can see with their mold pattern on this, you do have that nice angle to where it sits down on the bridge of the nose, which is going to help in the comfort overall on the frame. Now, of course, with this one being nylon, that is going to reduce the weight pretty dramatically. And if you're familiar with Vuarnet at all, they do use mineral lenses in the vast majority of their frames, excluding the full visor fronts. This one, even with the mineral lenses, still weighs in very light. And that is one of the big advantages of this Legend series. It lets you get into the mineral lenses without really getting a heavy frame. So you can see what you think of the mineral lenses before you dive into the higher end frames and get something really dramatically heavy, like say a Chrome Hearts or something along those lines, where you don't want to wear that more than a couple hours. This is easy to wear for all day comfort. Overall fit with these nylon frames, there's not a lot of adjustment, so they kind of fit or they don't. You can tweak a little bit, but you know, overall, if they're in a good adjustment, it just kind of fits. Yeah, it fits like it's going to fit. You can level them up a little bit. You can add just a little more snugness behind the back of the skull. That's pretty much all you've got. There's not too much room for adjustability, and that goes for any of the nylon frames. But there you go. So that's my wrap up on the 03 and what I think is so cool about it. And of course, it does come with that whole deal with being worn by the dude in the Big Lebowski, and you know, that's always fun. Did tell you I was taking the mask off, right? So there you have it. That's my take on the Legend 03, why I think it's such a cool frame in the collection, and why I think they continue to keep it around. Well worth it in my opinion, especially with the improvements. Anyways, let me know your feedback. If you own one of these frames, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and everybody else that's watching, because obviously they want to know about this frame, so let's hear about that. If this video helped you, like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff, so you can keep up to date with the coolest and newest in lens technology and cool sunglasses frames, which you always have fun doing. Of course, I'll have a link down below in the comments and description of that exact frame so you can order it from us. See you guys next time.